And now it is time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome here on a cloudy and overcast Monday morning. Hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. It was a nice one at my house, and I know that it's a great time to honor the mothers, and hope everybody had a great weekend. Well, Matt Bryson is here this morning, and he's all set to talk about Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main in Lebanon. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
I just now turned your mic. We sitting here talking, and I delaying doing my job, I guess. But it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
How was your weekend?
It was great. It really was. And like you said, just a great weekend to get to honor all the mothers.
Well, we talk about the Kubota line at Absolute Kubota. They're on West Main. Kubota tractors. You have the zero-turn mowers, you have RTVs, you also have Hustler and Exmark along with Kubota, but you got so much for people to choose from.
We really do, Coleman. Kubota, the line itself is really, it's broad, and so we do have a lot of products that kind of accommodate most of the customers in our market. And this morning, one of the things I wanted to highlight is we're getting close to hay season. Matter of fact, I had someone in this past week that was buying some belts for a hay mower that was actually already making a cut. And so, as we enter that time, Kubota has always ran 0% financing on their hay tools. We also have a little bit longer warranty than most in the industry. We do a 2-year warranty on hay tools, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's actually a year longer than most brands. Mm-hmm. And so, with the way that the hay business works a little bit, that the last thing you want to do is be out there in the middle of the hay field and something be broken. And right. So we're starting to see a little more traffic on that, and our lot is full of hay mowers, tedders, rakes, and even the hay balers. So we've got the equipment ready to go.
Well, it is about the middle of May here, not hardly, but close, and that's hay season. And with the rain that we have gotten recently, I would imagine we're going to have a bumper crop of hay on for a while.
The fields that I'm seeing, that's definitely looks to be the case, and the little cool down we've had here over the last few days will also help some. But I usually around Memorial Day tends to be when most people are going to get out and get going on that. But the main thing for us is that we try to keep that equipment in inventory, and then we also try to have it where it's ready to go. Mm-hmm. Because usually if someone, if they have a rake that breaks or a tedder that breaks or something, I need it now. I've got hay on the ground and I'm ready to go. And then on the product support side of that, we just had a guy that has been in our service department for a while now that got back from a week-long training down in Florida. And so we tend to, during hay season, we kind of corral who we know that has our product out there, and we try to make sure that we're ready to go in case they have something happen.
Well, there's that saying about service after the sale, but it means so much. And I think you really have gone all out in just about every way possible to offer service after the sale.
We sure try. My background being in the service business, that was an area that I tried to focus on when we first got into this business. But when you have hay on the ground and something's broke, it's got to be fixed. Yeah. And so that is one of that particular product offering that we have. There's a high sense of urgency when it's broken.
And there's hay on the lawn. There are yards to mow all the time. I don't want to confuse anybody here. Everybody likes their lawn mowed and looking sharp, and a lot of people do that professionally now.
They do, and but we've also got a lot of large acreage homeowners around here too that have to mow their own grass because it's so expensive to try to to bring a professional in to do that. And I got a little worried about a month ago. We kind of got dry, and the wind was kicking up some, and I started to see some lawns drying up a little early. And but boy, have we turned the tables on that.
We made up for it.
We sure have. And I was coming in this morning, and it's a lot of the grass is definitely growing. And so on the zero turn mowers, we have the 0% financing on those as well, out to 60 months. And our most inexpensive Kubota zero turn starts out around $4,800, and then we go up to about $13,000 or $14,000 in the gas lineup, and then if you want a diesel, they get on up there around $20,000.
But you've got them. You've got them in stock. You got them there to show today, right?
We certainly do. They're lined up all along West Main, so you cannot miss them.
All right. Well, all of this, and of course, your hours. You have convenient hours for your people as well.
Yes, sir.
Open Monday through Friday, 7 to 5, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You're on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to noon, right?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Matt, have a great week. It's good to see you. We might mention, too, you have a website, of course, www.absolutekubota.com, and you find a lot more there than we had time to talk about this morning.
You sure can.
All right.
Thank you, Coleman.
All right. See you next week. Well, that takes us to 10 minutes after the hour, and we are through the legislative session, and so each Monday at this time, it's going to be a little bit different for a while, and each Friday as well. But it's my pleasure today to have Aaron Maynard with us. Aaron is the county finance director, and he doesn't get to come here as often as I would like, I guess, but it's always good to have him when we have a mutual time together. Aaron, good morning.
Morning, Coleman. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you Cubbies doing?
Fair.
Head of the Reds, right?
Yes, they're fair. Middle of the pack.
Well, the Reds blew another one yesterday. My only saving grace over the weekend was at least Vanderbilt beat Tennessee yesterday.
Yes, that's always a good thing for you and me.
They looked like $1 million yesterday, but they didn't look so good the other two games.
No, it's been an up and down year for them a little bit.
Well, how busy are you? Do you stay about? Are you about as busy in December as you are in June, and October as you are in April? Is it the same all the time, or you have times when you are really busier?
No, this is the really, really busy time. I'm busy with the exception of maybe some time in December and January when I'm still busy, but it feels like things are moving at a normal pace. Mm-hmm. Right now is the euphemism is drinking out of a fire hose, or the metaphor. Things move really fast for us from the time that we start the budget process until it ends. And so Saturday and Sunday both, this weekend I was working on budget. So
you are right there in the middle of all of this.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, you're really, until it gets through the committee process, I mean, you're right there with everybody, aren't you?
It's making the changes, providing advice, sometimes solicited, sometimes unsolicited. But we've got a lot of bright commissioners who are in the middle of some debates about employee compensation and other things. And, you know, it's up to them to work those things out. I will provide, again, my input, but it's up to them to decide how to handle it, and then it's up to me to get it in a document that the public can read and understand.
Well, one of the good things for you is, I mean, once you've done this one time, each time succeeding is somewhat similar. It's not the same, but you've been through it and pretty much know what to do. If you've got a new county commissioner, somebody who is starting a 4-year journey here, he or she's got a lot to learn.
They do, but thankfully, CTAS, County Technical Assistance Services, does a lot of training with new commissioners, and this group has learned very fast. I think they're more than ready for what they've got to deal with.
Yeah. Well, one thing, and we'll go to a break here. We are dealing with inflation. The price of gasoline that the county pays and diesel, I feel sure, is more than. And some years you maybe don't budget enough. We are dealing with inflation. How have we done with that in this fiscal year that's about to end?
To date, we've done well. We really haven't had a lot of departments come and say, we need more money for fuel, or, I think where we see the inflationary pressure and where everybody in this area sees the inflationary pressure more than anywhere else as far as business and government is concerned is in wages. Mm-hmm. We compete not only with other fire departments and ambulance services and, police stations. we compete with the private sector as well. So when it comes down to it, if what I'm paying somebody to work is less than what they can make somewhere else, they're going to go somewhere else. So that's what we have to be mindful of. We have to pay a competitive wage, so that we can staff the way we need to.
Well, if you don't, if you continually lose people, really all you're doing is sitting here training them for somebody else. That's my opinion.
No, sir, you're correct. At the same time, we don't ever want to do a knee-jerk reaction and just throw money out at a problem that we have no idea how much or why we're doing it. We try to do it by pay studies and by thoughtfully, thoughtfully studying the problem rather than just making a knee-jerk reaction set adjustment.
You involved considerably in that too, aren't you?
I am, less so than Human Resources. Human Resources has been in charge of doing the pay study since it was first done in 2016. Sometimes, we may have to make, this is not a year for a pay study, but we may see, there's discussion about there being an adjustment made anyway. So we'll have to see how that goes.
Okay. All right, time for us to take a break. Aaron Maynard, our County Finance Director, is with us. We'll talk more in a moment here on Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And now let's check in with Commander Chuck with on-time traffic. Let's see how we're doing out there on those roadways. Traffic brought to you by Absolute Kubota, where premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment, located at 1506 West Main in Lebanon. And you can call them at 615-449-6171. Here's Commander Chuck.
Good morning. It's really starting to get heavier here in the last few minutes. 24 westbound coming out of Murfreesboro, Rutherford County up to Laverne, Smyrna, as traffic also picks up southbound on 65 as you work your way down through Madison there at Briley Parkway. Pretty crowded now at Vietnam Vets westbound at Conference Drive. You got all the traffic building in from Sumner County through Hendersonville right now. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Middle Tennessee. Make it Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Mount Juliet Plumbing is the company to call it. Mount Juliet Plumbing, we can fix it all. So if you're having a plumbing problem and you're needing it solved, come on Juliet Plumbing today. We will fix it right. That's the Mount Juliet Plumbing way. Give us a call today over here at Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. We do water leak repairs, water heaters, slab foundation leak detection, and so much more at 615-733-5665.
The Farm Bureau Expo Center would like you to consider us for your next corporate outing. Our 79,000 square feet of adaptable event space offers unparalleled versatility right here in Wilson County. Trainings, luncheons, and meetings are just a few of the many types of events that we can accommodate throughout the week. For booking details, as well as upcoming events, visit farmbureauexpo.com or find us on Facebook at Farm Bureau Expo. We look forward to seeing you soon at the Farm Bureau Expo.
We continue here on a Monday morning. Thanks for joining us, and our thanks to Aaron Maynard for taking time to be with us. Where are we now in the budget process? It's kind of a lengthy thing, and you don't do it overnight. And the county's budget, you've got the school is, what percentage is it? Maybe 70% of the county budget, something like that?
Yeah, as far as local tax dollars, it's probably about 55%, something like that. It's about half the property tax rate, and then they get much more of the sales tax than the county does. But so about 55% of local tax is probably 80-85% of the total budget, something like that. Where are we in the process? At the beginning, moving toward the middle by about May the 23rd, I think I would consider to be the midpoint of the process. But that's just where we give the county commission a preliminary copy of the budget as it stands today. And then we give them the needs list in terms of this is what the various departments are needing going forward. And at that point, the last 4 or 5 years, we've been able to vote on and adopt a budget in June. And we'll see if that remains the case this time. In order for that to happen, 10 days before the county commission meeting takes place, we have to advertise the budget in local newspaper. And so a lot of work has to get done in a short period of time in order for us to get the budget done in June. We have been able to do that, like I said, for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe this year too.
Do you have a preference there as finance director?
Yes, I sort of moved for us to start doing the budget in June. We used to do it every year in August. Right. The reason being, there's two main things in the finance department. There's a lot of main things. For me personally, there's two main things that absorb a lot of time. The budget process is one of those. The other process there is closing the fiscal year end and preparing for the auditors. When we were adopting our budget in August, we were attempting to do both of those things at the same time. So it was my preference, if we could get the county commission to do it, and they graciously did, that we would get the budget out of the way earlier so that when we turned our attention to closing the books, we were completely focused on that instead of trying to split our attention between those two things.
Are you prone to make more mistakes?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, there's only so much time in a day, no matter how many hours you work. And so, yeah, I think the more under the gun you are, the more divided your attention is, certainly the more apt you are to make a mistake.
How do we rate, how does the state rate us maybe with our process, our procedure, with the job that we do year after year? I mean, they're going to do their best to find something wrong. If they're like most times when anybody has an inspection, if a government comes to inspect you, they do their best to find something wrong. It used to be that way here when the FCC would come and inspect the radio station. They don't come around anymore. I guess they trust us. But anyway, if you just hoped it didn't find something really bad to write you up about.
Right. I feel like maybe, hopefully, I've grown in the job, and certainly my relationship with the auditors. I used to be an auditor myself, so I certainly understand where they're coming from. But I think we have a better relationship than we once did, and I'll take responsibility for that as well. I think they would say that we do a good job. Certainly, we've not had a lot of findings in the last several years. I'm proud of what we do. The goal is always to have zero findings. That's always the goal. But at the same time, if you view it correctly, what they point out as a particular problem area is an opportunity to learn and to do something better. Now, do I always feel that way in that moment? No. In that moment, sometimes I'm a little aggravated.
Yeah.
But when I step back and I get the proper perspective on it, okay, now what do we do better? And so if you approach it from that standpoint, then to me, that's the proper way to do it.
Well, let me ask, as the budget process comes around here, and we've got to, of course, have a budget in place, and what are the biggest challenges? Or do we have a really big challenge to face this year? I mean, we've got to. I think we live within our budget pretty much.
Yes,
I don't think we borrow all that much money in the county. We do some, but it seems like we're in pretty good shape. I want to think, but you tell me.
Yeah, I think we have done a really good job of managing the resources that we've been provided with. Are there challenges? Yes, sir. There are challenges. We mentioned employee compensation. I expect that that's going to be part of the discussion right up until the point that we vote on a budget. We're doing something different this year too than we've ever done before. It actually, 2 years ago, we did a pay study. And then following that, we put our employees on a step plan. So now when we have growth, which this year is about $2.1 million, is what we're measuring growth in the property tax to be. The first $1 million of that basically is going to cover employee wage increases in the form of a step plan. We put a step plan in place for 16 years. So it'll take about $1 million to fund that. So instead of them having $2 million to look at what the departments need and decide what they can grant and what they won't grant without a tax increase, they'll only have $1 million. And that is, when you start considering if we need to give raises over and above that, again, you can hold the line in any 1 year. You can tell the sheriff's department, no, I know you built onto the jail, but we're not giving you your extra corrections officers. Well, that'll hold for a year, but it won't hold forever. So, am I sitting here predicting a property tax increase this year? No. Am I saying it's completely off the table? No. It's going to be part of the discussions that lead up to the ultimate development of a budget.
I think we're still faced with school building, and of course that's part of what the taxes go for. Where does that fit in?
As I understand the scenario right now, we're looking at another elementary school, which we have determined we already have the capacity to fund that additional elementary school. Beyond that, when the Board of Education comes for the next school building, which will probably be either a middle school or a high school, at that point in time is when we'll have to figure out, how much capacity we have to minimize or offset any potential tax increase. It's a few years down the road on a building, I think, before we're looking at a tax increase.
What kind of reserve situation do we have? I know the state and Senator Pody is always harping, for lack of a better word, calling attention to that in a very big way, that he feels we really need to have adequate reserves, rainy day fund. What about the county?
About $26 million right now, most it's ever been to my knowledge. And again, a lot of that has to do with COVID. We were sent a lot of money by the state and federal government through COVID and CARES Act dollars, some of which was for replacing money that we were spending on public safety already. So some of that money went straight to the bottom line, in essence. It is, my job, I feel like, is to keep people from getting confused, from looking at $26 million in the bank and thinking that they can use that money to fund salaries. So if we just have a real candid, 30-second discussion, I can pay $10 million in increased salaries in a $26 million savings account for about 2.5 years, and then I'm out of money. So my challenge is to be sure they understand the difference between recurring dollars and, just money that we've been able to accumulate.
How does our reserve compare with other counties maybe of comparable size? Is that, I guess,
lower, considerably lower. But again, I don't feel like we're in a bad position by any stretch. If we were to sit here and pull up the audit reports of Sumner, Rutherford, Montgomery, they all have more.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's the mindset of the county commission regarding that?
It depends on the commissioner. I've heard some say, in order for us to do anything, the first thing we have to do is deplete our reserves. In other words, if we were to find ourselves in a situation like I just mentioned, where we have to raise taxes because we have to adjust employee pay because of inflation, because we can't retain people in a particular position or positions, some of them would say, well, you can't possibly do that while you're sitting on $26 million. I would argue against that, but again, I can understand the thought process.
But if you get a really bad situation, disaster strikes somewhere,
sure.
Then if you don't have some reserve there, you're really hurting.
Yeah, and if you want to have eventually a AAA bond rating, right now we're AA plus, and we would like to have AAA. AA plus is the next highest. Reserves is one of the things they look very strongly at. But your point is perfect in that, the money that is reimbursed from FEMA, for example, takes years. The school is still fighting with FEMA over reimbursement of expenditures. And in our case, we lost appeal about $300,000 that we appealed and lost. So to make a long story short, you're not necessarily going to get all your money, and the money that you do get is going to take years. So you've got to be able to handle it yourself on the front end.
We're about out of time here. Do most of the county commissioners pretty much understand what you're saying here, understand what they're facing and why you might want to do this and why you might not want to do the other, your recommendations along those lines?
Look, we have 25 highly intelligent, capable people. Do we all view things from the same angle, from the same lens? No. That doesn't make them wrong. We just have to make the best decision that we can for the citizens of Wilson County. And I feel fortunate to get to be in the room. When I was growing up, if you told me that you will sit in the room, having the discussions with the mayor and the county commissioners and whatever else about things that will shape the lives of the citizens of the county, I wouldn't have believed that. I mean, I just feel very privileged to be in that position.
Well, I think we're very privileged to have you out here with us this morning to explain this, and we appreciate the job that you're doing, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Aaron Maynard, our County Finance Director, and that's part one of Coleman & Company. We've got more, and hope you'll keep it right here, FM 98.9.
And let's check back in with Commander Chuck and on-time traffic. Let's see what's happening out there on those roadways. And traffic is brought to you by Bates Ford, located at 1673 West Main Street. And they got the Works vehicle checkup going on, tire rotation, and that oil change, 5 quarts plus disposal, and that safety check, all for $59.95. And you can give them a call at 444-8221. Once again, here's Commander Chuck.
Good morning. It's loaded up pretty good with some volume coming through Hendersonville right now, westbound on Vietnam. That's all the way to Conference Drive. It's pretty heavy now, right on schedule, 24 westbound through Laverne, Smyrna, coming in from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County. THP's trying to mop up that wreck in Smith County this morning, 40 eastbound at the 252-mile marker. As traffic gets even heavier now out of Dixon County on 40 east, coming past 840. Princess Hot Chicken now has new items on a new menu. They're all delicious, and you can order online today at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We're the Mount Juliet Plumbers, and we're just a phone call away. We know that if you're having a plumbing problem, you're not having a very good day. So give us a call right now, and a plumber will be on his way. At 615-733-5665. Call 615-733-5665. Call your local plumbers over here at Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. We install water heaters, water lines, new toilets, and do general repairs at 615-733-5665.
Are you facing a challenging time that you need help navigating? Well, look no further than your local law firm of Kane & Crowell. At the offices of Kane & Crowell, our team of experienced attorneys is here to guide you through every step of the process. With a proven track record of success and a commitment to our clients and our community, look no further than the team at Kane & Crowell to fight for your rights and provide representation you deserve. 615-784-4800.
It's Kubota Orange Days, your golden opportunity to score a deal that'll make your neighbors green with envy. Shop the year's best selection of Kubota tractors, zero-turn mowers, and utility vehicles, including the #1 selling compact tractor in the USA. And get the year's best deals, like 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,300 off L3302 tractors.
Absolute Kubota, 1506 West Main, Lebanon.
Rain chances return today. We'll see a high around 73, 64 for your overnight low. Rain chances continue for Tuesday as well. A few scattered storms possible. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm Severe View's Will Nunley.
We continue on a Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to part 2 of Coleman & Company. We want to welcome Gail Hellam back to talk about the Farm Bureau Expo Center. Gail, good morning.
Good morning.
We missed you last week. You were on special assignment.
I was.
But Suvanetta came in and not only talked about what you do and marketing and events, but talked about something else that we had that she was interested in. I've done forgot what it was now, but anyway.
Well, it's interesting. She's retired, but she's awfully busy.
Right. Well, Gail Hellum is Director of Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center, and of course it is all out there, part of the James E. Ward Ag Center, which there's a lot going on there all the time anymore, it seems.
It is. It's a great combination when you look at the Ag Center and you look at Fiddler's Grove and what we do. There's a constant coordination on traffic control, what's going on, what works with what. Perfect example is the Pentecostal group that I mentioned a few weeks ago coming out. I've got them in the expo, and we got Truck Nationals in the back. Not exactly the combination that you would think or pick, but it'll work. It'll work. I mean, we've been talking about it, working on it. We've got a planning meeting this week, so I think we're good.
Well, if you did the same thing all the time, it would probably get a little boring after a while.
Oh, yeah.
The variety, for sure, keeps you on your toes.
That's right.
And awake.
That's right. It does keep me on my toes. And when you have a new group, they have to learn you. You have to learn them. There's a lot of discussion. We have one show that I'm really hoping that we are able to come to an agreement on terms of what they need versus what we can provide or we can connect them with. And it's a printing show that, you think about T-shirts that are printed and that type of stuff, that they're the suppliers to the companies that do all that. And, they've got special power needs. Well, we've never been asked that. So, that's a bit of a challenge that we're trying to figure out. Is that something we need to add? Is that something that they need to make arrangements to provide? And, that's something new for us. So we bring an entire different market to Lebanon to come to this. So it's always an evolving door.
Yeah. Still, I guess every once in a while there's something that comes along that just won't work, or at least it won't work at this point in time.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And that could either be for space or it can simply be for timing. Mm-hmm. And an excellent example of that is we had a makers market this weekend. I happen to know that market from up in Gallatin and was thrilled to death to bring them in. And they, from what I understand, I was not at the expo this weekend, but the feedback and looking at the numbers, they did well. And they actually sent us an email yesterday and said we were the dream team and they loved working with us. But the timing from year to year may not work. It worked for them this year, but it may not work going forward. So sometimes it's timing.
There's so much to this overall scheme that doesn't meet the public eye, I'm sure.
That's correct.
You do have to be on your toes.
I call it the master game of Tetris. I'm just trying to find out where the pieces fit and fall.
But things are still looking up. I mean, the future looks bright, doesn't it?
I'm not showing a slowdown.
As far as Expo Center, I mean, you booked way in advance in some situations, years out from now.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. And, I had a conversation with one of our event planners, a relatively new event planner, not one of our dance teams that's been with us since the beginning. He was highly frustrated that, it was like, well, but we always have this weekend. And I'm like, but you haven't always had this weekend. And so we tried to figure out how far out we could put them back in, because I tell everybody you need to plan ahead and you need to communicate your planning. And so waiting until the end of a 3-year contract to tell me you want the next 3 years probably is going to cause a skip in your routine, because I've been booking those next years for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So that was a aha moment and a learning curve, but we figured it out. They just have to skip a year, and we got it figured out for them.
Oh, good. But there's that old saying, if you snooze, you lose.
Well, yeah, that's one way to put it for sure. And I say it all the time, and I'll have people go, well, we'll just call you next year. Well, you might want to have that conversation now.
Yeah. But overall, things looking good. You're enjoying what you're doing. People are We've built it. The people are coming.
We've built it. The people are coming, and I absolutely love the compliments that the team gets, and it just makes me really proud to work with such a great group of people.
Well, Gail, thanks for being with us. How about we do it again next Monday?
That sounds wonderful.
All right.
All right. Have
Gail
a good day.
Hallam, Director of Marketing and Events for the Farm Bureau Expo Center, and that takes us to about 21 before the hour. This is the Monday that we feature Ed Kelly, the singing plumber. Ed, good morning.
Well, good morning, Coleman. How have you been doing?
I'm doing well. It's nice to have you today. Of course, Ed has the Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection and is here this particular Monday of the month to talk about his business and talk about being the singing plumber and whatever else. It's your time, and you can do whatever you want. I've told you before, as long as it's not illegal, immoral, or fattening.
Well, I've got some pretty good news. We've got a brand new song. It's called The Grass Ain't Always Greener. And I've got my good friend and music producer here, Mr. Sean Pody. And he also provides services for other singers if they want to get his information online. Go ahead, Sean.
Sean, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Tell us what you do, what you've got available.
Well, I've got a music studio right here in Lebanon, and I've been in Lebanon for many years making music for folks. I started out doing recording for songwriters and artists that come in from out of town or the ones that live here in Nashville, and they'll bring me a song kind of like Ed does, and we'll take it from an idea all the way into something you hear on the radio. So,
is this what you do most of the time?
Yes, it is most of the time.
Yeah. How did this all get started?
Well, when I was a little boy, my mama taught us siblings how to sing harmony, and we'd go sing in churches and do a little gospel music everywhere, and that was kind of my background. But as I got out of college, I decided, you know what, let's make a go with this. So I moved from Louisiana all the way up here to Nashville, Tennessee, and started making some music and playing for artists on the road and doing some things like that, touring all around the world, really. But, I said my kids are growing up. I don't want to be gone all the time, so I started doing more recording so I could sleep in my bed at night, and it led to just making music for other people to go tour, and so that's where I'm at.
How'd you two get together?
Well, I was working with Mr. Mark Pody at his insurance office, doing some insurance stuff, and I still do that from time to time. But I tell you what, Ed was a client. We met through Mark, and we started, Ed kind of posed a question for me. He said, you know anybody with a studio around here? I got some songs I need to record. And, I'd been kind of helping him with his insurance stuff, and he said, and I said, well, Ed, I could help you with that. I got some stuff. And Ed was like, oh, I don't know, man, this guy. I don't know. What'd you think when I said that?
Well, I've heard that before, and, it's kind of like no offense, but kind of like the neighbor that says they're going to help you with their plumbing. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, beware of that.
Most of the times, it's not going to work out if you let your neighbor fix your pipes or your plumbing. But I knew Sean had some experience with music and with the Nashville scene, and I've seen some of his performances before. So I was like, well, I think I'll give it a shot and see what it is, And I was very impressed and surprised. I mean, if you listen to the quality of these songs, I think they're radio quality, and I think Sean is the best music producer in Nashville. That's my opinion. He should be working for a big label. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Well, do we have a song we're going to be playing, or?
Yeah, it's called "The Grass Ain't Always Greener," and we're going to play it after the commercial.
Okay.
I don't know when that.
So we need to talk to break time.
Sure.
And come back from the break.
Let's talk about plumbing a little bit.
Well, let's talk about plumbing. We got a couple of minutes here. How you staying busy?
Oh yeah. We finally got us another good plumber. He came from California. He fled California, and he loves it here.
We're all laughing at that description, and I think that's an apt one.
And he said, man, everything's so much cheaper here. Gas is like $6 a gallon. I'm maybe $5.70 or something. I don't remember what he said, but
a lot more than here.
Yeah, but we're also doing a TV commercial for Mount Juliet Plumbing, and I bought a football helmet for my son Jonathan, and we got the Mount Juliet Copper the Bear put on it, and we're going to do a commercial, and so we're working with Channel 4, and I'm going to be coming out of the garage with the water heater on the dolly, and then my son's going to run up in his football gear, and he's going to tackle the water heater, and then he's going to get up and say, "We tackle your plumbing problems," or something like that. It's going to be funny. Y'all tune in. It's going to be on digital stuff. It's not going to be on basic TV, but it'll be on your streaming devices and stuff.
Sean, you got anything to do with this commercial at all?
Well, we're planning to do the music bed for it before it actually comes out. That way it'll have a nice undertone to it.
Yeah. Well, I guess trying to always be thinking ahead.
It's hard to get anything done if you're not thinking ahead. As busy as things are, I mean, if I didn't think ahead, I don't think I'd ever get anything done.
Well, I'm taking it that this new employee has relieved some of your anxieties, maybe helped you be able to get more jobs done.
Yeah, his name is actually Hector, and he's an amazing guy. I mean, he actually shows up to work and does what you're supposed to do. It's unbelievable. I mean, you get some of these guys out there, and they want to make $40 an hour, and then they want to leave a customer's toilet off the ground. I mean, because it's 4 o'clock, or they got to go home, they got to go somewhere. But Hector, he's a warrior. He does what I would do, or what a good plumber ought to do. And if your water's shut off and he's there, he's going to stay there until it's fixed. And that's what I really love about Hector. He gets stuff done,
Well, that's great. You can find out more if you go to www.mountjulietplumber.com, mountjulietplumber.com. You can find Ed at 615-733-5665, 733-5665. You can also find Ed at www.edkellymusic.com. All right. We're going to take a break right here. We'll come back. We'll let you introduce the song, and we'll get Preston to play it. But right now, time for a break on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And now let's check back in with Commander Chuck and on-time traffic, see what's happening out there on the roadways for you. Traffic brought to you by Absolute Kubota, where premium brands require premium parts and service. Contact Absolute Kubota's Elite Certified Service Department to schedule an appointment, 1506 West Main Street in Lebanon, and you can call them at 615-449-6171. Here's Commander Chuck.
Good morning. Still trying to mop up that earlier wreck out in Smith County. It's been out there for a while on 40 eastbound at the 252 mile marker. Give yourself a little bit of extra time as you leave Wilson County towards Smith County. It's heavy now, right on schedule here in Hendersonville, Sumner County on Vietnam Vets westbound approaching Conference Drive. That wreck with some injuries tying up the 5900 block of Ashland City Highway. 24/7 reliable crane and rigging services right here in Middle Tennessee. Tomahawk Crane and Rigging. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Hey, this is Dr. Derek Gregory, and I'm proud to announce to you the opening of our brand new dental practice, Gregory Dental Group, at 1746 West Main Street, just across the road from Sports Village. Come experience modern dentistry at its best. We're always welcoming new patients, and I truly look forward to taking the best care of all your dental needs. Come by or call us today.
That's Gregory Dental Group, 615-444-0322, or online at mylebanonTNDentist.com. Gregory Dental Group, compassion, knowledge, skill.
And we continue here on a Monday morning. Our program presented by Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection. Ed Kelly, he's here. Sean Pody is here as well. Record producer, music producer. And tell us again, just quickly, what we're about to hear.
Okay, so it's called The Grass Ain't Always Greener. I just got the idea to write a song about the title, and nothing real personal, but it does kind of reflect on normal life and normal relationships and things that go on during those relationships, and I'm real happy with it, and I think Sean did a great job doing all the instrumentals on it and putting it all together for us to hear.
All right, we're ready to hear it. Okay. We're ready.
Another girl, it really shook her world. She cried for days, then he came crawling back. She yelled at him, not so fast, told him he could kiss her ass, 'cause she won't be his fool again. Recited these words to him: oh, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Why don't you move a little closer so you can realize that image that you're seeing ain't nothing but a lie. Oh, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. She met a man that loved her so much more than she could know. He wanted her to be his girl till death do apart. She left him for another guy who took her on a wild ride. She never thought that it would end, but then one day it did. Oh, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Why don't you move a little closer so you can realize that image that you're seeing ain't nothing but a lie. Oh, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Here she is all alone, not knowing how her life might go. She just might go home now that she knows. Oh, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. Why don't you move a little closer so you can realize that image that you're seeing ain't nothing but a lie. Oh, the grass ain't always greener on the other side. The grass ain't always greener. The grass ain't always greener.
All right, there we have it. The grass ain't always greener.
Yeah.
You want to tell us any more about what's in that song, or the message? We've heard it. We know.
Well, you know, I've always done. I mean, it's just a simple message. You know, whether it's in a relationship or anything. You know, let's say you want to move somewhere and you're not content where you are.
Okay.
Sometimes you just have to realize that you might be able to go to another place, but that doesn't mean your life's going to be better or you're going to like it better.
Yeah. That can apply in a lot of ways.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. For sure.
Sean was going to tell his part on this recording.
Well, you know, Ed will call me and say, hey, I got a new song I want to do. So, you know, I'll say, Ed, well, let's just get together and we'll sit down in the studio, and Ed will start singing through it, coming up with his melody and his ideas, and I'll just pick up my guitar and start to play it, and, you know, I'll make a little music chart of it. We got the Nashville number system. You can put it down, and once we get it all arranged, you know what, I'll play a guitar part. I'll put a little bass on there. I'll get Ed to sing it, and then I'll start playing electric guitar and a little piano, and, you know, get the drum beats on there and whatever it needs. And, you know, each song is kind of a different animal, you know, so it's like a child. You know, they might not all come out exactly the same. Actually, you don't want them to all come out the same. Yeah. So you got to figure out, you know, what to do a little different with each one and let breathe life into it, you know.
How long does it take from start to finish for one like this?
Well, each song is different. It may take me, you know, if I sat there all day and just did it, you know, I can get one done in a day, but I like to take a couple of days, and that way I can do things till I get tired and then come back with a fresh set of ears the next day and work on it a little bit. and then, that kind of thing. So I'd say, maybe 8 to 10 hours to get one done.
Yeah.
If you were twisting my arm, I could do it faster, but who wants to twist it? We want it to be
How
good.
many instruments do you play? And
you
play a number on recordings that you do?
Yes, I play on a lot of them, but I don't play everything. I mainly came to Nashville as a bass player, and so I worked on the road with people playing music. Jerry Reed and Trace Atkins, those guys I played with, playing bass mainly. But when I started, I always played guitar too. So I started playing guitar on stuff, and then many years ago, there were some mail order companies in Nashville that would do a lot of demos, and that's kind of where I built my chops in being able to play the piano, the electric guitar, the mandolin, and all this stuff. Because a little mail order demo, you don't have the budget you do for like a custom record. Uh-huh. So you kind of have to do it all in-house. So you just get out there and you work out the parts, you figure out what works, and, you don't have to be Tony Rice on everything or Ricky Skaggs on everything, but you just got to know how to play the right thing at the right time and make it sound good together as a song.
He's kind of like me with plumbing. With plumbing, there's so many different aspects to it that you really can't be like great at everything, but you have to have a good foundation. And I think he's pretty.
Well, I'm great at some things. I'm pretty good looking and humble too.
I think he's pretty great at what he does. As far as being a professional in the music industry. I think you can. Can you play the banjo?
I don't play the banjo, but if I need some banjo, I'll call Craig Fletcher. He lives 5 minutes from me. I do that for the fiddle too. Old Craig's here in town.
Yeah, Craig Fletcher's played on a few of those songs.
Local boy right here in Lebanon.
Well,
Several Tears Left to Cry, and
leads to something else could ask here, throw in here, because there are all kinds of possibilities of arrangements of particular instruments. I mean, you may use a fiddle, you may not. You may use a steel guitar, you may not, or whatever. But somebody has to make that decision, and that a lot of times has to do with whether a song's a hit or not.
Sure it does. And the music that's behind it is what people remember a lot. If you think of a song like Amarillo by Morning, the first thing you think of is that fiddle part at the beginning coming on, playing that melody. The songwriter maybe didn't write that, but the musician that played that arranged that. But so it all lives together, and it's very important. And you can take a song that's a country song and make it into any kind of genre. Many years ago, I used to play for a guy that would take popular rock songs and do bluegrass versions of them. And you think, well, how did that work? Well, it's all music. You just kind of change the decorations behind it, but you take the body of the song. So that's how you do it.
And when you're plumbing in the daytime, you can either think of the song you're going to write or what kind of musical instruments you're going to use in the arrangement you're going to do.
Yeah, I usually do that. That usually happens when I'm on the road driving from one job to the other. I'll get an idea, or I'll get a little melody in my head up here.
Yeah.
And then I'll decide whether it's worth messing with or not. I've kind of developed a little system with songwriting over the years, just to help me complete them, because I've always had an easy time coming up with the first verse and the chorus, but finishing the song's always been harder. And so, what I was going to also say is, before I left Texas to come here, I'd always get compared with, the radio songs, the songs that were done in the studios with the band and all the music. And, I would usually just be playing my guitar and singing. So all my family, they never really supported me. They never thought I was good enough, but as I've gotten to Nashville, they've all kind of changed their tune, because they hear the great quality and sound that Mr. Sean Pody over here at the podium has been able to help me produce.
Well, it's a complex industry for sure, and some make it big, Some don't make it at all, and some are somewhere in between, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
We got about a minute and a half left. You want to mention a little more about your plumbing?
Yeah. So we've got an office over off of Matterhorn, and we're selling plumbing supplies out of there. But if you need our services over in that area, just give us a call. We're happy to take care of you. With your water heaters, I know there's a lot of galvanized piping in that area, in that Hermitage, Old Hickory area, and those houses are about 60 years old. So they're all, if they haven't been, if the water lines haven't been replaced yet, it's time.
It's coming.
And I'm going to have the Grass Ain't Always Greener on the website. We've got the other songs. This is a compilation of my album called the Best Damn Country Songs in the World album. And it's got Blame Donald Trump and I Won, and the song that was played last month, Time to Heal My Heart.
Yeah.
You Mean the World to Me. That was inspired by George Jones and some people that I ran into during some plumbing jobs that knew George. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a great album. That's why I titled it what I did, because it is, these songs are great. So just go on the website and buy the digital download. And what is your website, Sean?
SeanPodyMusic.com.
SeanPodyMusic.com, and this is EdKellyMusic.com.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And if you need a plumber, 615-733-5665 for Mount Juliet Plumbing and Leak Detection, Ed Kelly. Ed, thanks for being with us. See you next month. Sean, glad to have you today,
nice
too.
To
Sean
see you,
Pody
Coleman.
as well. That's it for a Monday. Join us tomorrow for Coleman and Company. Till then, I wish you a magnificent day.